Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And it's Golem F. Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. Gentlemen, we got ourselves a loaded show here tonight. We're going to talk about Smackdown Live, and we're also going to recap AEW Collision, and we will do that right here and right now. So, we're going to start off, as always, with SmackDown Live. And if there was any question who we were going to start it with, we started it with the new, undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. He cut it a promo. And it was basically, it was the rundown. He talked about finishing the story, talked about winning the title. Then he talked about what happened on Monday Night Raw. And actually what the item that The Rock gave him back. Basically, he basically said that it was something that was given to him. It was a gift, and that Rock told him to hold on to that. And we all know how that played out. But he basically deferred and said that he knows he's going to see The Rock at some point, that Rock was going to go away, and he believed it, and said that, I know for a fact that The Rock will come back, and I'll deal with that when he does. So he does basically say that goes into what was undoubtedly one of the highlights of the SmackDown on that show on Friday, and there was going to be 6 men going to be competing in 2 separate triple threat matches. The winners of that move on. They got to face each other, and the winner of that match will get to face Cody Rhodes in France at Backlash as the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship. Now, the competitors, the 6 men are Santos Escobar, Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, AJ Styles, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens. So he basically cut it the promo saying, I wish you guys nothing but luck, but when you come at the king, you better not miss. And then basically hyped himself up at the end. It was as standard and cookie cutter as you expected. There was really nothing there. It was a solid promo. Really well done. Great way to start the show, because obviously you need to have your WWE champion out there in front of the world. Let him talk. Yes, he did his little victory lap on Monday night on Raw, night after WrestleMania. He did his little victory lap. But this time around, this is his show. This is his home. SmackDown Live, the WWE title is a SmackDown championship. Now that could change if once the draft happens, where we might have a flip where the World Heavyweight Champion might be heading to SmackDown and the WWE title could be heading to Monday Night Raw. You never know, because that could happen. Anything is possible. But one thing is for sure. This was what it needed it to be. It was a solid opener. I was very happy about it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. And on top of that, it was exactly what I was looking for. Solid for Cody to talk to the fans, get real with the fans for a minute. And on top of that, gives us an ultimate payoff that now we got something to look forward to for the rest of the evening. These 2 triple threat matches, and who's going to be coming out of those matches to face off next week in order to become the number 1 contender for the WWE title. Stick around, guys. We got a lot to talk about with that. But until then, Anthony Florio, come on in. We got to hear from the American Nightmare, the new WWE champion, on his show now, SmackDown.
So, Mr. Fletcher and Mr. Bullock, what do you guys want to talk about? That's a little example of what That's how Bullock and I start our Raw and SmackDown chats. I throw the Cody bit in his face, and he loves it. So we picked that thing up and we ran with it, man. But that's just a little example. Enjoy it while you can, MF, because I'm telling you, what you just said about the draft there, I think the WWE Championship is going to be going to Monday Night Raw, and the World Heavyweight Championship is going to be going to SmackDown. That's just my opinion, but we'll have to wait and find out. But I'll give it to you, MF. You're absolutely right. This was a business as usual kind of promo. Cody Rhodes is settling into his new role as the top dog in WWE. He did not get emotional, and he didn't break character. This is the Cody Rhodes we can expect to see every week. It was a good speech to kick off his SmackDown run as the WWE champion. The best part was Cody didn't overstay his welcome. He talked for just long enough. And WWE making sure Samantha Irvin's voice was included in the video package was great. The social media reactions to her being emotional for the announcement were ridiculous. So, and I mean that in a good way. So, and then after that, backstage segment, Paul Heyman, along with Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, talking about bringing the title to the Bloodline. And that locker area, that extravagant locker room that was being used as their locker room for these last several years, now had Cody's thing on it. And Kevin Owens told him, hey, there's a broom closet over there, guys. So, yeah, I love that. But that's all I can really say about it. I mean, business as usual. And I think we're gonna get it. We're gonna get a little more of that tomorrow night in Montreal. So that's really all I can say here. So good way to start. So Phenom Michael Bullock, come on in. What do you want to talk about?
Well, what I want to talk about is, of course, the new champion, Cody Rhodes. So, yes, I mean, this was a solid promo. I mean, doing his usual thing. I mean, now as the top guy in WWE, and yeah, he didn't overstay its welcome. I mean, basically hyped up about those that are going to be competing in the triple threat matches later on in the night, and who was going to potentially face him at Backlash in France. So yeah, I mean, this was a good promo. So yeah, and there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
And actually, to start off, we had one of the two triple threat matches. So we started it off with Bobby Lashley versus LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. The winner of the bout in 9 minutes and 27 seconds, and advancing to that final match next week on SmackDown for the right to become the number one contender for the WWE Championship and to face Cody Rhodes at Backlash in France, is the megastar that everybody talks about. Fellas, hit it.
Whose game is it? Whose game is? No, let me start it off here.
All right.
All right, gentlemen. All right, Bullock. Let's tell MF whose game this is, with both of us and everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah.
He wins it at 9:27. Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 to 3.25 stars. Santos Escobar was the only competitor in this bout who did not win at WrestleMania, so he came into this looking to reverse his fortunes, while LA Knight and Bobby Lashley wanted to continue their winning ways. These are three very different wrestlers. Lashley is a powerhouse, Escobar is a technical high flyer, and Knight is kind of a jack of all trades entertainer. They mix together well to give this match a little bit of everything. Since there are no disqualifications in a triple threat, Angel and Berto were able to interfere unimpeded. The Street Profits ran down to fight them, while B-Fab went after Elektra Lopez. Knight ended up winning the match during the chaos. This is a fun, energetic opening match. Even though the interference didn't do much to take away from it because it was kind of expected due to the rules. And having one guy come out before a commercial break and spend several minutes in the ring is even weirder when you're there live. It's kind of funny sometimes because the talent will interact with the crowd a bit. And Lashley should get the little thing he used to stand on for his entrance again. It made it all feel more epic somehow. But 3 to 3.25 stars. So nothing more to say here. Michael Bullock, LA Knight. big win here. Now he has an opportunity for the biggest win of his career so far. He beat AJ. He. Of course, we all remember what he did at WrestleMania. One more win, and he's got another shot at the WWE Championship. Only difference is it's not Roman Reigns. It's Cody Rhodes. Should he get there?
Yeah, that's the key there. Should he get there? So we'll see what happens. But yeah, he definitely takes that first step into being the number one contender. Now he's just got to get through the final part next week. So I'll give this about 3 stars. I mean, it was a good match. I mean, yeah, you kind of had to expect the interference with Humberto Carrillo and Angel Garza on behalf of Legado del Fantasma, because you knew they wanted Santos to get the win there, but the Street Profits and of course B-Fab basically put a stop to it. But because of all the chaos, LA Knight took advantage of it and hit the BFT on Santos Escobar. So, and that's what got the win for him. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Big win for LA Knight, but can he do it one more time? So there's really nothing more for me to say except Fletch, it is yours.
3 1/4, 3.5 total agreement with everything you guys have said. This was a solid match, and it was exactly what it needed it to be. LA Knight winning the match. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. I could make an argument for Santos Escobar to get an opportunity at the title, but obviously, as you can tell, he's not really done with these feuds. Legado had the LWO. Now it looks like he's gonna have the Pride to deal with. It looks like Legado and the Pride are about to go into war. And trust me, something in the back of my mind is thinking the Final Testament is not done, but maybe they might be done for now. Because if you've noticed, the Final Testament has their eyes on the NXT tag team titles, and that's very interesting to see. But at the end of the day, now we might get another turf war between the Pride and Legado. I'm not mad. I think that would be a good battle. So we'll see how that plays out. LA Knight goes through. He's one step closer to the title. We'll see if he gets there. He's got a big fight next week. We'll find out who his opponent is in just a little bit. All right. Next up we had was Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso. The Bloodline was in the ring. Heyman was talking about stuff that happened at WrestleMania and everything else, how there was some failures, how the Bloodline accepts accountability and everything else. So he was going to try to hype up that Roman was going to come back somewhere in the future and was going to reclaim his throne again. Before he could say anything, Solo grabbed the mic and basically said, we talk about accountability and we don't accept failures. And if somebody fails or something like that happens, normally in the Bloodline, we deal with failures. He turns his attention to Jimmy Uso. Now, we all know Jimmy lost to Jay at WrestleMania. That is considered a failure in the eyes of the Bloodline. So, what happens here? Nothing at the moment, except somebody comes out and jumps Jimmy Uso. Not just somebody that I know really well, and I lost my mind when I saw this guy. Tama Tonga is now in WWE and is now a new member of the Bloodline. He is the son of Haku, but what he also is part of the greatest tag team in professional wrestling history. The Gorillas of Destiny from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, he was excommunicada because he was a member of the Bullet Club and got kicked out of the group. But he went on to have a pretty successful solo career, was an openweight champion in New Japan. He left, and now is signed with WWE. But there's also rumors now that this might not be the last guy who might be coming to WWE, who's a part of the Alawahi family. Now there's Tagaloya, who is his brother, who's also part of that bloodline, but there's also another brother of Haku lineage. That guy's name is Hikaleo. If he shows up, I think we might have ourselves a turf war about to go down. And oh my goodness, what that could be. One other thing. If you notice one other thing. When Paul Heyman tried to call Roman Reigns, Solo grabbed the phone and destroyed it. Told Tonga, get the chair. He put it under Jimmy's neck and said, I love you, brother. And then we saw what happened next. Even during the backstage thing, when Kayla tried to ask Paul what's going on, Paul had a look of, no, it's not good. It's bad. But before he could say anything, Solo was right there. And he's looking right at Heyman. But then Tama Tonga came out and said something very interesting. He said that beatdown, and I don't know if you guys caught this, but that beatdown was orchestrated and got the blessing by the tribal chief himself. Michael Bullock, it's all yours.
Man, I mean, yeah, a lot definitely came out of this. I mean, yeah, first, I mean, Heyman basically said that he doesn't put the blame on the loss of Roman's loss on John Cena or Seth Rollins or even The Undertaker. That he puts it on Roman because Roman had a chance to finish Cody off, and what did he do? He
went right after Seth Rollins. Yep.
And why did he go after Seth Rollins? Because of what happened almost, can't believe it, almost 10 years to the day when Seth Rollins broke the shield when he hit Roman Reigns with that steel chair. And Roman thought that this was the time to finally get his payback. The only problem, Fletch, the payback cost him.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the thing that Heyman addressed. And that's why Roman's no longer the champion. But and like you said, just as the moment when Heyman was going to talk about how Roman was going to be back on top of the throne, Solo grabbed the mic and says there needs to be accountability and Roman needs to be held accountable. And then all of a sudden he turns to Jimmy, and that's when that mysterious person came out, and it was Tama Tonga. And then just as he was going to call Roman Reigns, Solo grabbed the phone and destroyed it. And then they took the chair and Solo took out Jimmy Uso. And like you said, that backstage segment where Kayla was trying to catch up with Paul Heyman, and he didn't even know what to make of the situation. I mean, and you saw the look on Heyman's face during the attack. It was like this was not what he was expecting. And just as he was explaining himself, and then Solo and Tama Tonga came out, and that's when he said it was by orders. Well, Tama Tonga said it was by orders of the tribal chief. But the big question is, Fletch, which tribal chief is he referring to? Is he referring to maybe Solo? Because remember, during that segment, Roman was trying to call I mean, Paul Heyman was trying to call Roman Reigns about the situation, and Solo destroyed the phone. Is Tama Tonga referring to Solo as the new tribal chief? The new tribal chief? I mean, I've heard so many rumors about a bloodline civil war, maybe potentially for SummerSlam, where you got this new bloodline against the old bloodline with maybe Roman Reigns and maybe the Usos get back together against Solo, Tama Tonga, and another new member. I don't know. So many questions that are still yet to be answered. Hopefully, we'll get some more answers with this whole thing in the days and weeks to come. So the thing is, right now, I mean, just when you think we have all the answers, Solo and Tama Tonga, they change the questions. So there's really nothing more to say on this. I mean, Fletch is yours. I mean, what do you think of this whole situation? Who do you think Tama Tonga is referring to as the tribal chief?
Well, I mean, there's only one tribal chief. That's Roman Reigns. However, if you also remember when he anointed, he anointed basically Solo as the heir apparent. Now, with Roman gone, maybe Solo has assumed the leadership as the new tribal chief. But the thing is that was there any blessing from the elders about this? Or had the elders anointed Solo as the new leader now? Because you don't know. Like they said, failure leads to accountability, and by all attempted purposes and by all admissions, Roman failed. He lost the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania. And he did lose in the main event. 1,316 days, and the reign is over.
And
So,
the thing is, Solo basically, it's almost like he's saying, I mean, just because you were champion for this long doesn't mean you get excluded from accountability.
and I think that's also the thing that you have to wonder is that would that also lead to that? But we don't know. This
That's why
could be,
that's why I
but the
said,
thing is,
and that's
but
why
the
I said that there's so many questions that have still yet to be answered.
yeah,
And that's
and
why hopefully we'll get some more answers in the days and weeks to come.
I think we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out because right now there's too many questions. There's a rumor about Jacob Fatu coming to WWE, but we don't know if he's going to NXT route or if he's going to the main roster. Is he the new member of the bloodline that joins? And by the way, he's also part of that bloodline as well. If you remember that family tree, I don't know if you noticed, his name is there. His name is on that line. So he is a part of that family tree. Now, we don't know if it's going to be Jacob Fatu. We don't know if it's going to be Tonga Loya, which is the brother of Tama Tonga. Or we don't know if it's Hikuleo, who's also another brother who's a part of Haku's family. Haku has 3 sons. They're all wrestling. Tama Tonga, Tonga Loya, and Hikuleo. That's the Gorillas of Destiny, folks. That's the most dominating force in New Japan. And like Corey Graves was saying, he was running roughshod in Japan and caused so much ruckus and chaos. And already, first night in, and he's causing chaos and ruckus in WWE. So we got to see how this plays out. One thing is for sure. What if it's not Roman Reigns that's pulling the strings? What if it's The Rock? Remember, he's High Chief. He outranks Roman Reigns. And there is talk about maybe Rock and Roman maybe going into tribal combat, possibly at next year's WrestleMania. Maybe you plant the seeds now. Do a long-term booking. You know Triple H loves his long-term booking. And as a matter of fact, it was 6 months ahead before we found out that Cody was finally going to get to finish his story. 6 months that they planned that for him to finally finish the story. Could they be doing a 1-year build to start now, have a bloodline war? Maybe Roman beats this version of the bloodline. Rock comes back. And then maybe Rock takes out Roman for saying, I remember what you did to me at last year's WrestleMania. Remember that spear? Yeah. So that would lead to a bigger war. Now you got the High Chief versus the Tribal Chief. Trial by combat at WrestleMania 41. I don't know. It sounds pretty damn good to me. That's all I'll say about that. Nothing more to say. Anthony Florio. Oh my goodness, a lot to decipher, but damn, this is getting good.
Your commentary, especially. I mean, when you're like, yo, what is this? And then when the assailant revealed himself to be Tama Tonga, we do the you yell out, what? And then you're like, hey man, do you know who that is? And I'm like, no, MF, who is that? You're like, that's Tama. Like, dude, that's Tama Tonga. I'm like, Tama Tonga. Yeah, and then you go off and you damn near run down his resume. You're freaking out, marking out like and marking out at the same time. I mean, I know that was a big moment for you, MF, but anyways, all right. Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Jimmy Uso were in the ring to talk about WrestleMania 40. They said Roman Reigns doesn't blame anyone who interfered in his match and wants the bloodline to take full accountability. Sikoa said losing has consequences and got in Jimmy's face. He gave him a hug and said he loved him before Tama Tonga attacked him from behind. Solo and Tama destroyed him before taking Paul Heyman's phone and crushing it. They put a chair around Jimmy's neck, and Solo said he loved him again before hitting a running hip strike. As Heyman screamed, is this what the tribal chief would want? No. This was kind of unexpected. We all knew Jimmy would end up out of the group eventually, but having Tama Tonga come in and immediately replace him was a nice surprise. It'll be interesting to see how long Reigns is away, how long Roman Reigns is away, and what WWE does with the group without a title. Sikoa demanding change is consistent with his character. This was a good way to keep the bloodline interesting for a bit, but it needs to lead to more. And I think we're looking at an Uso reunion as well. Heyman acting terrified of Solo was great. WWE needs to explain a bit why Tama Tonga makes sense for the bloodline. A lot of WWE fans won't know who he is. I'm going to break it all down for you exactly. I know exactly how this is all going to play out, gentlemen. I'm going to break it down for you right now. And you heard it here first, here tonight. By orders of the tribal chief, all orchestrated by The Rock. It's The Rock, guys. Solo assumes leadership, recruits Tama Tonga. Jacob Fatu, I believe, is going to follow. The Usos are going to reunite. When Roman eventually returns, I believe he's going to do so as a babyface. Not the dull, boring babyface he was before. Same character, but with a babyface wrinkle to it. I think we could be looking at a possible Bloodline War Games match at Survivor Series. And I believe that the ultimate endgame is The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 41. That's how I believe this is all going to play out. On one side, you got Solo Sikoa, you got Tama Tonga, you got Jacob Fatu, and then you on the other side, you got Roman Reigns and the Usos. Not sure who else is going to get thrown into it, but those are the core 6 right now. So you heard how I broke it down. So that's exactly how I see it playing out. So this was the segment of the night, no doubt about it. And I don't know what else there is to say except, coming up next, MF, we had what we here in the biz call a delicious squash.
And unfortunately, this one is about to get cut out. It was Braun Breaker going up against Cameron Grimes. Braun Breaker winning the match in 1 minute and 22 seconds. Like I said, it's a cutout. Nothing more to say there. Then we had the new WWE Women's Champion Bayley interrupted by Tiffany Stratton. And then, of course, that was also interrupted by Naomi because what she has said in the whole scrum and everything else was that, first off, they were talking about how first Bayley was trying to do her little bit of the running of the lap for winning the title. And then she turned around and say, well, I want to, let's see who I can talk about for next. And then Tiffany Stratton came out thinking, you know what? I'm the center of the universe. I didn't even get an opportunity to compete at WrestleMania, which was a farce, and that I deserve a shot at the title. Now, Bayley's like, I actually had a challenger in mind. And the person I had was actually Naomi. And Tiffany was not having it. So she was like, you know what? All right. I already beat her once. I'll beat her again. Then I'll become number one contender. So we had a number one contenders match. It was Naomi versus Tiffany. Naomi wins. She wins it in 7 minutes and 15 seconds. She knocks off Tiffany Stratton, and more importantly, Naomi is now the number one contender for the WWE Women's Championship. Now, I'm getting a lot of pushback by the fans. They're like, how could you do that to Tiffany? She's been the hottest thing. Okay, time. Hold. It's not her time yet, guys. We all know when that's going to be. Not yet. Tiffany's going to get Money in the Bank. She is almost guaranteed to win it now. They are going to push her to get the Money in the Bank, and then she can go after Bayley, and she will unseat Bayley to become the WWE Women's Champion. Because right now, Rhea's on a big run. They're not going to throw her to Rhea Ripley. There's no way that's happening. Rhea is not losing the belt anytime soon. You can tell she's getting a mega push. All until maybe Jade Cargill shows up, and then maybe she's done for. Then she probably loses the belt to Jade. But Tiffany and Bayley, that's going to be down the line. And it looks like that could be the payoff that we're going to get. Because even Vegas, they've been putting some feelers out about who they think the Money in the Bank winners are going to be on the men's and the women's side. For the women, the betting line favorite right now is Tiffany Stratton. And I think there's no argument that it's going to be her. For the men, there's actually a little bit of a surprise. They actually say it's Sami Zayn. And you think about it, you're like, why would Sami be the one to get the title? I mean, don't you think the one that is the most worthy is Gunther? Honestly, truthfully?
Yes.
So that's why I'm thinking Vegas, unless Vegas knows something I don't know, I think Vegas, you're way off on the men's. The women's, I'll put all my money on that, and I know I'll be making bank when Tiffany Stratton has that briefcase in her hands, and she will have it in her hands. It's almost a given. I think we all can agree with that. So I don't know, y'all. This is gonna be crazy. So Tiffany gets taken out. Not 7 minutes and 15 seconds. Naomi gets the shot at the title. Anthony Florio 2-for-1. Give me your thoughts on the promo by Bayley, and then Naomi, number one contender, actually takes down the center of the universe. Oh, by the way, and I know you must be loving it. The nod to Cher from Clueless with her outfit, by the way.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes, that is one of my favorite movies. Yes, it's a guilty pleasure. I will admit it. But story for another day. But anyways, Bayley came out to a great ovation, looking as happy as ever to be the women's champion once again. Chants of "You deserve it" rang out as her music stopped. She put over the locker room and the fans for being there for her during her entire career. She said she wanted to give someone an opportunity, and that brought out Tiffany Stratton to answer her open challenge. Bayley said she was not offering an open challenge, but wanted to give Naomi the first title shot instead. Naomi said she wanted to take on Tiffany before accepting Bayley's challenge. Match got going after a commercial break and a quick segment with Kayla Braxton trying to get a word with Paul Heyman about Jimmy's condition, but it technically got started during the break, so we returned mid-match. Bayley stayed at ringside to cheer on Naomi, but ended up seeing Tiffy dominate her most of the time. This bout lasted through another break and eventually saw Naomi make a comeback and get the win. Match was fine, but seeing the crowd give Bayley such a warm reception was the best part. Be honest. How many of us forgot Cameron Grimes was on the roster, after getting deliciously squashed by Braun Breaker? Tiffany bringing up the glowing title Naomi used to carry just reminds us that WWE failed to capitalize on a perfect merch opportunity. And it was kind of weird for WWE not to wait until after this match to show Paul Heyman talking to Kayla Braxton. But 2.5 stars. That's the best I can give this match. But we don't have to wait long for this match, guys. This Friday night on Smackdown in Pittsburgh, Bayley will make the first televised defense of her newly won WWE Women's Championship when she defends it against Naomi, and we'll see how that goes down Friday night in Pittsburgh. So, solid 2.5 for this one. So, did Bullock start this one, or do I give it to him?
You give it to me because I haven't even talked about it yet.
Yeah, you give it to Bullock
because I didn't know. I got a little sidetracked. All right, 2.5 for me. So Bullock, Naomi gets the win, and now Naomi, golden opportunity, and now she has an opportunity to make her WWE comeback full circle. But I don't think she will, though. I think Bayley will find a way.
Yeah, there's no way Bayley is losing her title after she just won it at WrestleMania. I mean, as much as I would love to see Naomi have her comeback come full circle, I just don't think it's going to happen. So, yeah, the promo I thought was really good. I mean, especially with the "You deserve a chance." And, yeah, I mean, Tiffany Stratton coming out and saying she wanted to be the one to get the first shot. And then, of course, like you said, Naomi coming out, that's when we got the match. And like you said, I've heard the same thing too. I mean, so many people feel like Tiffany Stratton should have been the one to go over. And like Flex said, hold on, folks, cool your jets here. Those who are blasting this, look, it's not her time. Because I'm in agreement with you guys. She's winning that Money in the Bank, Tiffany Stratton. And then she'll get her opportunity. So patience for those who are pulling for Tiffany Stratton. She'll get her moment. But it's just going to take some time. So 2.5 for the match. Let's move on.
So next up we had, all right, unfortunately another cutout, but this is a little bit of the level of comeuppance, as we would like to say. So earlier in the day, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they showed up and they started talking with our good friend Nick Aldis. And basically, Chelsea was shooting the mouth off, very angry, very felt like she got raw dealed because of what happened on Monday Night Raw, where she had to face off with Jade Cargill. She thought it was unfair. She went to HR about it. She came to SmackDown like, I want competition. This is unfair. That was horrible. So Nick Aldis, being the good general manager that he is like, look, I got a couple of opponents for you. If you and Piper Niven wants to compete, you're more than welcome to. We love to have you. But your opponents are going to be you guys have a tag team fight. You can wait at ringside and you can find out who it is. So who do you get? Not only do you get Jade Cargill, but you also get Bianca Belair on top of that. The match only lasts a minute and 27 seconds, and it was Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair winning the match. Now, this is backstage. Now, she is flipping out. Chelsea, like, that is so unfair. I can't believe you did that. You're just like Adam Pearce. We want a fair, you got to give us a fair opportunity. I don't, something. So he's like, look, you want a fair opportunity. I already talked to Adam Pearce, and you guys now have a match on Monday Night Raw. Who are you going to face? Katana Chance and Kaden Carter in a tag team fight. Now, honestly and truthfully, I think this might be a better matchup for Piper Niven and for Chelsea Green. Because Kaden Carter and Katana Chance, yes, they're a well-oiled machine. Yes, they are a great tag team, former champions. But the problem is, with Chelsea Green and with Piper Niven, you're talking about two smaller ladies, and I have to say it, with Piper Niven, she could easily overpower both women. She can. With the sheer force and the brute strength that she has, she's a wrecking ball. All Chelsea needs to do is lean on with Piper. You might have yourself a victory on Monday night. Who knows? But we'll wait and see how that plays out. But that will move on. So, with that said, we do indeed move on to the main event of the evening, as it was AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, and Kevin Owens in the second triple threat number one contender qualifier match. Winner of the bout in 9 minutes and 13 seconds, the phenomenal AJ Styles. We got ourselves a rematch, boys. We're running it back one more time. LA Knight, AJ Styles next week on SmackDown. The winner goes to France to fight Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Championship. I do believe this goes to Anthony Florio. So, Florio, it is yours.
What was the time of the fall? 9:13?
9:13.
Fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Easy. This was the best thing we saw all night. And these three former world champions did not waste any time making this a fast-paced affair. Best thing we saw all night. But looking at who was involved, that shouldn't surprise anyone. The Phenomenal One hitting a super Styles clash with Rey Mysterio onto Kevin Owens and perfectly rolling him into a pin was the best part. The show ended with LA Knight and AJ Styles having a standoff. And Kevin Owens should come to the ring giving a promo from backstage every time. That was great. Complaining about sitting in the ring during the commercial was even better. Rey was all over the place. He was competing like he had something to prove. The double German suplex was a fun spot. Some of the spots they did with all three men were really creative. The right result. You knew when LA Knight won, you knew AJ Styles was going to win. And here you go. LA Knight, AJ Styles. Big question is this. Do they give LA Knight? Do they have LA Knight go over a second time? Or do they have AJ even the score and go up against Cody? And if I'm going to be honest with you, I think it's AJ. I think it's AJ.
Sorry, LA Knight fans, but there ain't gonna be no yads coming next Friday night.
Yeah, I believe it's gonna be AJ. I think AJ will get the win back here, and should that happen, think about this: AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes, two of only 4 men in wrestling history who can say, I've been NWA and WWE champion. Those two, along with the two Nature Boys, Buddy Rogers and Ric Flair. Think about that. Buddy Rogers, Ric Flair, AJ Styles, Cody Rhodes. Those are the only four men who can say, I've been NWA and WWE champion. Is that something or what? And think about it, MF. AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes both have Bullet Club tie-ins. I mean, you know their story from the Bullet Club. And think about this. AJ and Cody have never had a one-on-one match in WWE. The only time they ever had any interaction whatsoever was during the 2016 Royal Rumble match. AJ Styles, however, back in NWA TNA, he wrestled Dusty Rhodes on an NWA TNA pay-per-view show when they were doing the weekly pay-per-view shows, $10.
From the Asylum in Nashville.
In the Asylum, yeah. AJ Styles fought Dusty Rhodes. So this would be the first ever meeting between AJ and Cody Rhodes. We have seen Cody Rhodes in LA Knight. Go back to that Monday Night Raw we went to a year ago, March of last year, when we went to that Monday Night Raw at the Dunk. So I'm telling you. But anyways, I think it's going to be AJ and Cody. There's your Backlash main event. Lyon France, get ready. You're going to be in for something special. Them two boys are going to steal the dang show, along with whatever else we get come May the 4th. So, fight of the night for me, 3.25, 3.5 stars, and no surprise about the outcome. So Michael Bullock, one more time, AJ Styles, LA Knight, WrestleMania rematch. LA Knight won at WrestleMania, but I'm afraid AJ's going to get the win back, and we're going to get AJ and Cody in France, and them two boys are going to steal the dang show.
Oh, without a doubt, AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes are going to steal the damn show at Backlash in France. So, yeah. Sorry, LA Knight fans. I think this time around, AJ's going to get the win back here from WrestleMania. So, 3.25, 3.5 stars. I'm with you. This was the fight of the night. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, it's your Fletch.
Yeah, this is the solid main event. This was at least a 3.5 star bout. It was a great battle, great fight. I enjoyed it. I think you just can't say anything bad. It was a solid main event. It was it turned out really well. So AJ winning, which is, like you said, no big surprise, no shockers, no anything. It just, with AJ winning, it just gives us that little extra oomph. We get another match. We get AJ versus LA Knight one more time, and this time the winner gets to face off with Cody for the title. Like I said, I think it will be AJ this time around. And imagine what Lyon France is getting on their plate when you talk about AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes for the WWE title. That is a main event anywhere in the world. And France, you're gonna get the one of the biggest matches in the history of the company. So get ready, guys. It's gonna be quite a match, quite a battle. I can't wait to see it. But again, we gotta wait till next week, because who knows? They could surprise us. They could give this to LA Knight. So who knows how this plays out? So we'll see. Overall review time, Michael Bullock, it's yours, and give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I thought it was I'll say it like this. I mean, it was solid, but not overly spectacular, because you had a couple of good matches in those triple threat matches. I mean, you had a couple of good promos, but you did also have a couple of squash matches here. I mean, if I were to give this a rating, I'll give this about maybe between 6.5 to 7. I mean, but like I said, the only reason why I'm going that range, because of those two squash matches with Braun Breaker and Cameron Grimes, and the women's tag team match. So if it weren't for that and we got something even better, I would have given this a higher rating, but I would have to say 6.5 to 7. So it's yours, Fletch.
I'm actually totally in agreement here. This is a straight 7. I thought this was a decent show. Yes, you had the 2 squash matches, but you also had something pretty good along the way. You had the thoughts about, Cody Rhodes cutting a promo, first time on SmackDown as the WWE champion. Good promo by Bayley, and it also was the Bloodline. The Bloodline storyline dominated this event more than anything else, with now a new leader, it looks like, a new member, an excommunicata, as we saw, as one got excommunicated from the group. And now we're looking at what could be even more chaos down the line because of the fact with everything going on in that front. So yeah, there's a lot going on here that was pretty damn good to start out. So nothing more to say. Anthony Flo, you got final say, and then we'll get into Collision.
7 to 7.5. This show may have included 2 squash matches. Nobody will remember tomorrow. But everything else we got made for a pretty solid episode of SmackDown. Cody Rhodes' first speed as the top champion on SmackDown was a good piece of business. But the promo from Bayley saw the crowd respond much more passionately. Fight of the night was the main event, but the main topic of conversation on social media, most definitely the debut of Tama Tonga as part of the Bloodline. Haku's son is a former member of the Bullet Club and had a great run in New Japan, so it's going to be fun to see how WWE uses him. He is one of the few signings in recent years to skip past NXT, so management must see a lot in him. So it's a 7 to 7.5 out of 10. Detroit, Rock City, Little Caesars Arena, Red Wings and Pistons country. You had a good show. So there's not much more to say. And MF, we got to move on to AEW, and oh boy, AEW Collision. They sure as hell needed a bounce back show after the debacle from last Wednesday night.
Yeah, we started it out with a 6-man tag team fight. Dante Martin, Matt Sydal, and Action Andretti versus all 3 members of the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. And it was the House of Black winning the match. 14 minutes and 25 seconds, 3.5 stars. What a way. You could even say 4 if you wanted to. The jump off, that was absolutely incredible. And on top of that, we also now have a match set for Dynasty, as it will be Adam Copeland, the new Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Mark Briscoe, and Eddie Kingston against all 3 members of the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. That is now set for Dynasty. Wow, that's going to be a hell of a fight, to say the very least. So, yeah, great way to start the show. I got to say, this was easily 3.5 to 4. Anthony, it's yours.
3.5, 3 3/4 from me. This was a surprisingly by the books contest. Tags were being made, rules were being observed, and illegal partners were staying out of the ring for most of the match. Things started to break down a bit at the end, but it was always easy to follow which members of each team were legal. This might not have had the breakneck speed some fans would have expected until the final couple of minutes, but it was a well-structured bout that gave all 6 wrestlers time to shine. After a couple of near falls on both sides, House of Black got the win with a triple team attack on Matt Sydal. The announcer said Darius Martin was getting his pilot's license and was unable to compete, so Matt Sydal stepped in. Seeing a guy like Brody King do a dive out of the ring will always be fun, and Dante Martin had a great series of high-flying moves toward the end. 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. Excellent jump off. So not much more to say on that. So Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the opener?
Yeah, this was a solid opener. 3.5 to 4. I mean, great work by both teams here. I mean, this was an enjoyable match, a good way to kick off Collision. So, yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So let's move on, Fletch.
All right. And with that said, we do indeed move on. Next up, we had with Shibata going one-on-one with Lee Moriarty. Shibata winning the match in roughly 10 minutes and 30 seconds, so 10 and a half minutes. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Another 3.5, 3.25, 3.5. These two men have very similar skills. They are both incredibly technically sound while also possessing great striking ability. The first few minutes were a clinic showing several holds, counters, and reversals. They fought through the break and began to incorporate more strikes. Shibata won the striking battle while no-selling a series of chops that left his chest red. They told a great story of two highly skilled fighters only being separated by their level of experience. After a great bout, Shibata won cleanly with a brutal kick to the face. Shane Taylor attacked Shibata until Hook made the save. Taylor chose to back down and save himself for his FTW title match against Hook later during Battle of the Belts. Let's see. Anthony Ogogo joined the commentary team for this match, and that was really the only. There's no notable observations on this, but I will give it about 3.25, teetering on 3.5 for the effort. I'm not surprised about the outcome. I had a feeling Shibata was going to win it, and he did. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 3.25, 3.5 for me on this one. I mean, another solid match, but yeah, I'm not surprised with Shibata going over on Shane Taylor here. So yeah, I mean, there's really nothing more for me to add on to it. So it's your Fletch.
Yeah, this is about 3.25. This was a solid matchup, a very good fight. Really nothing more to add there. Then we had Daniel Garcia versus Atletico. Daniel Garcia wins in 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I don't feel like we really need to talk about this one. It was kind of too short, more than anything else. Then we had AZM along with Anna Jay. They went up against Tony Storm in an eliminator match, and Tony Storm winning the match in 8 minutes and 40 seconds. So, Michael Bullock, it is yours.
2.5, 2.75 for this match. I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, to me, the outcome was never in doubt. I mean, they want to continue to give Tony Storm the momentum going into her big AEW Women's Championship title defense against Thunder Rosa at Dynasty. So, yeah, this was to me the right outcome here. So, there's really nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
It was a decent back and forth. It was a good matchup. I kind of felt like the match was probably longer than it needed it to be. But it was still a fine performance. But the right person won. Tony Storm deserved to win that match. So it eliminates any threat or any fear for anything else down the line. And now we just gotta wait and see how it plays out. So yeah, really nothing more to say. And Anthony, it's yours.
2.5, 2.75. It felt like this match was split into two parts. The first half was all about entertainment, and the second half was about displaying their skill as wrestlers. This went from being what could have been a throwaway eliminator bout to a competitive fight, which will likely cause some fans to do more research on AZM to see more of her matches. Timeless Tony picked up a win with Storm Zero. AZM is only 21 years old. And get this, she's 21 years old, but she began training when she was 11 years old. An 11-year-old training to be a wrestler? She's way ahead of the curve. Tony Storm keeps finding new looks that work with this gimmick. Storm laughing off AZM's attempted takedowns was hilarious. And Tony Storm and Mariah May were getting a little frisky after the match. Oh, hey now. So,
Well, we all remember what happened with Mariah May and that other person on Wednesday Night Dynamite when they were getting a little frisky in the center of the ring.
A little too hot for TV.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. Yes.
But
yes.
Hey now, indeed. So,
yep.
2.5, 2.75 of a star. I couldn't agree with it more. So, I believe it's main event time, correct?
It is main event time, and boy, are we gonna have a lot of fun with this. It was Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli facing off against Powerhouse Hobbs and Kyle Fletcher. And when it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 26 minutes and 50 seconds was Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli. My goodness. I mean, okay, fight of the night. You could say 4.5 to 4 3/4. I can't give it the full 5. I mean, if you want to, you can. I won't be mad at it. But this was 4.5 to 4 3/4. This was an amazing main event. Definitely fight of the night. Excellent matchup, excellent battle. I can't say nothing bad about it. I was thoroughly entertained, and what a great way to close the show for a Collision. Oh, by the way, there's Battle of the Belt. Anthony will have the recap of the Battle of the Belt Monday night on his show, Ridiculously Raw. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Time permitting, I will, because
Yeah.
I do have I have
you got a good amount of stuff as well. Yeah. Time permitting.
Yeah. It was, that show was all, I mean, we'll see. But anyways, this was 4.5 to 4 3/4 of a star. Once everyone got settled and the match began progressing, we saw every combination of opponents work together. They ended up fighting into the crowd as things broke down before the final break. Even though every move we saw looked either good or great, the flow of the match was a little all over the place. It would have benefited from being contested under tornado tag rules, but since it wasn't, it kind of felt a little disorganized. But again, the action was fun and the crowd was being vocal, so it served its purpose and delivered some energetic wrestling. Claudio Castagnoli got the pin for his team before Takeshita attacked from behind. Powerhouse Hobbs needs to get away from the Don Callis family. I think the group has kind of run its course, and without Kenny Omega, Don Callis feels irrelevant. Powerhouse Hobbs almost dropped Bryan Danielson during a dive catch, but managed to save it. The padding on the floor, falling back into place and preventing Kyle Fletcher from using the concrete floor was hilarious. And Claudio hitting a hurricanrana from the announce table was unexpected. It was a 4.5 to 4 3/4 of a star match. Fight of the night, no doubt about it. And Michael Bullock, what says you?
Yeah, 4.5, 4 3/4 for me. Definitely the fight of the night. And yeah, this was a really, really good match. I mean, the right team to me went over, and yeah, and I'm with Florio. I mean, I think it's time for the Don Callis family to go its separate ways. I mean, I think we need to see more of Powerhouse Hobbs in solo action, and we need to see more from Kyle Fletcher. Because I'm going to be quite honest with you guys. I mean, yes, Hobbs and Fletcher are they've worked well as a cohesive unit, but then again, you could also say the same with Takeshita. But come on, guys, who's the guy that's who? This is more about Don Callis being Don Callis. I mean, he's being the attention grabber. I mean, this is not really about his guys. This is all about himself. I mean, that's just my personal opinion on it. So, but anywho, great main event, great way to close the show. So nothing more to say. It's yours, Fletch.
All right, and with that said, we do indeed move on to the overall review. Anthony Florio, come on in. You lead off on what's your thoughts on Collision? Like you said, they needed a bounce back from that absolute train wreck of Dynamite. What did you feel about Collision?
7.5 to 8. That's how I felt. Collision and Battle of the Belts. That double feature delivered some fun matches, but two things made those 3 hours of wrestling stand out. The first was how well everything was paced. We had videos and interviews between almost every match to break things up a bit, which meant each result had more time to set in. The second thing to note was how many women we saw on the show. In addition to Toni Storm versus AZM and Athena versus Red Velvet for the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, we also got interviews and promos from a number of stars in the women's division. Anna Jay, Mariah May, Queen Aminata, Thunder Rosa, Deonna Purrazzo, Billy Starks, and Lexi Nair were all given some attention. As far as the best match goes, it's a tough week to pick because a few were great for different reasons. If you want to talk about the best bell-to-bell performance, without beyond the shadow of a doubt, Katsuyori Shibata and Lee Moriarty, bell-to-bell, fight of the night. But you will get different answers if you ask different people. So it was a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 from me. And tomorrow night, yes, MF, you are absolutely correct. I will give you my thoughts on Battle of the Belts, and wait till you hear what I have to say. Very positive review. Best Battle of the Belts I have ever seen.
Michael Bullock, it's yours.
7.5 to 8, Bullock.
Well, and here's the thing first before that. I mean, Dynamite was still a good show. It was just that it was all taken away because of the releasing of that video of CM Punk and Jack Perry that really overtook it with all the negativity it's gotten, and rightfully so. So I'm just getting that out of the way. But like you said, AEW, they really needed a bounce back after a tough week because of what I just mentioned, and they certainly did. Not just with Collision, but also with Battle of the Belts, which, like Anthony said, he'll review tomorrow night. So 7.5 to 8 for me. I mean, it was a really good show, and yeah, I'll definitely give Tony Khan his props for this, even though he's been getting a lot of heat this past week. So, and rightfully so. So, nothing more to say. Let's call it a night, Fletch.
Yeah, 7.5 for me. This was an excellent show. Really nothing more to add. So we're done. We're out of here. So tomorrow night, as I said, the aforementioned Anthony Florio will be taking over, as he will have the recap of Monday Night Raw, and he's got some other things along the way. Ridiculously Raw on the Tone 25 immediately after Raw goes off the air at 11 p.m. Eastern. So until then, for Anthony Florio, for Michael Bullock, I'm Michael Fletcher. Like the video, leave a comment at the bottom, share with all your friends on all the social media platforms around the world. Thank you for watching. Be a friend, tell a friend, say something nice. You can actually change their life. Until then, so long, everybody, and goodbye.